This is a Fangirls Going Rogue priority transmission.
All team, give it everything you got!
It's time to fangirl flail with Fangirls Going Rogue.
Count me in.
Never get between a Mandalorian and a weapons package.
This is the way.
News, discussion, and commentary from the female point of view.
You call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
She's as important as he is.
With your hosts, Trisha Barr and Sarah Woloski.
Boy, am I glad to hear your voice.
Strap in, because this is where the fun begins.
I like the sound of that.
Season 2 of Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, Lucasfilm's original animated series, debuts on Disney Plus and Disney Junior on Wednesday, August 4th. Set 200 years before The Phantom Menace during the High Republic era, Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures follows Jedi Younglings Kai Brightstar, Lys Soleil, and Nubs as they study the ways of the Force, explore the galaxy, help citizens and creatures in need, and learn valuable skills needed to become Jedi along the way. I'm Trisha Barr, one of the co-hosts of Fangirls Going Rogue, and I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Dee Bradley Baker, who voices Nubs and a few other creatures in Young Jedi Adventures. There was a wonderful roundtable of fellow fan sites, and he shared insights into playing the character and voice acting as well. We hope you enjoy the interview and check out Young Jedi Adventures, now available on Disney Plus.
Star Wars fan site roundtable activate. Yeah.
All right, first goes to Art.
Hey, Art.
Hey, Dee, Art, Eddie, Art of Fatherhood. You and I have talked before, and I really appreciate not only your talents in the Star Wars universe, but also talking about fatherhood. So as a dad, I love the fact that Young Jedi Adventures has a ton of great messages in each episode for both kids and adults in the Star Wars universe. Are any of the themes or messages that you have seen through Young Jedi Adventures that you have maybe used with your kids?
Well, my kids are a little older at this point.
Yeah.
So it's hard to assemble them so that I can give them lessons anymore. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing to be part of a show that that families can sit around and enjoy like this, and it's constructive. It plays out in a moral universe. Good and bad are clear. Everyone pulls together to kind of problem solve together as a family or as friends, and it's all this kind of stuff that you want to be talking about and working through with your family and with your kids. So it's a real joy and a privilege to be a part of that.
Awesome.
In the Star Wars realm in particular.
Thank you. Dan, you've got next.
Hi again, Dee. It's Dan
Hey,
there
Dan.
from Coffee with Kenobi. Good to see you again, bud.
Great to see you.
Thank you. So this show, like all of your works, just shows the talent and passion that you have, not only for this franchise, but just for voice performance. Can you talk a little bit about your website and how you use that to encourage and empower people, much like the Jedi do in Young Jedi Adventures?
Yeah, well, my website, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, is something that I put together to try to answer that very question that I'm asked all the time, is how do you get into voiceovers, or what do I do, or where do I start? And so, look, being an actor is being part of a voluntary family. You come together, you collaboratively put together a story, and you help each other out to tell a good story. That's acting, and that's also being a family. So it's that ethic that's kind of the DNA of what my career is that of collaborative and being helpful. And so it was kind of a natural step for me to piece together all that I've learned from all the various kinds of acting that I've tried that eventually kind of narrowed into voice acting, and to put it out on the web. And a lot of people, they refer to it and they find it helpful. And it's not the only source of information or at all. There's no one way to go about becoming an actor, let alone a voice actor. But I've put out everything that I've got, and I keep adding to it. I keep adding essays and things that strike me, because I want new people. I want fresh talent in. It's being an actor and being a voice actor is not about excluding. It's not about being a rock star and me getting all the attention, because I'm not in this for the attention. When you're in it as an actor, you're in it to make something that's good, that connects, that tells a story. And so to keep that process alive and regenerating, new generations of talent should be encouraged to get on board and to gain their control and connection with their own creative powers and become their own version of what acting or voice acting is, or whatever else they're going to do. Maybe they become a writer, maybe they become a line producer, maybe they become someone who animates the lips. I don't know, but it's a grand collaborative work to make any of these animated things. And for my money, the more the merrier. So I want to get new people involved who are ready for it and who are right for it.
Thank you, Victor.
Victor.
Hi, Dee. I'm Victor Aragon from Fandance here in Chicago.
Hey.
Nubs is such a great character. I mean, just love watching him in the series. This season, I do see that you have certain episodes that just highlight what he can do. When you were given the scripts for this season, and then you saw like the certain characters that you were interacting with, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but how did you feel reading those scripts, and then once you put the voice down for those episodes?
It's really fun to dive into a new episode, because it's an old. It's one of the oldest and most appealing things about Star Wars. Is when I originally saw episode 4 back in '77, when I think I was about 13, that this was a fresh new world that was fully populated with all kinds of stuff that I had never seen. Aliens and spaceships and a world that all fit together and that worked. And so it was this surprise of this fresh world that really captivated me when I was young. And I think they really still have that in Star Wars, especially in this show. There's all kinds of new characters and there's all kinds of new creatures. That's very important for me, not just because I perform a lot of them, which I do in this series increasingly, but because that's part of the freshness and the fun of Star Wars. Is it's not just the same ideas and the same stories that are playing out, but you've got fresh aliens, fresh characters that are coming in constantly and rotating in. That's a lot of the fun of it. So I'm very excited for the fans and families to be watching to see what's crawling out of the spaceship this season.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trisha. You're next.
Hey, Trisha.
Hi, Dee. Trisha Barr from Fangirls Going Rogue. Seen you over many years at different conventions, and know you like to interact with the fans. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of shows like Young Jedi Adventures making Star Wars accessible to a next generation?
Yeah, I think Star Wars is a wonderfully plastic and broad universe or galaxy, I guess, and it's wonderful to see, especially in recent years, how kind of the center core tone of what Star Wars was to me has further expanded and further into the more adult realm that would play more to a grown-up audience, but also pulling out into a tone that also addresses specifically families and younger kids, a preschool set. And so it's really gratifying, I think, to see how well it thrives in all of these different realms. And that's really a tribute to the creative engine that they've cultivated since Disney's taken over, and the writers and the overseers and the producers and the directors that they allow in to kind of push this out in different ways. And so here we have with our show with Young Jedi is for the kids. But it fits perfectly within the canon of what's playing out, of the larger stories that are playing out, although it plays out before a lot of the drama that most are familiar with. And it's kind of a safer space, but it's also still fun, and there's a lot to be learned, and it's about kind of figuring out the galaxy as you move your way through it and come into your own superpowers and figuring out yourself. And so all of that fits beautifully with what Star Wars has grown to be, which is bigger and better, I think, than it's ever been.
Thank you, Keith and
Speaking
Kerwin.
as an old fan, that's how I feel about it.
Hello, Dee. This is Kerwin and Keith of Father Son Galaxy.
Hey, you two.
The series features life lessons for people of all ages to learn.
Yes,
Which
it
life
does.
lesson resonated with you the most?
The life lessons that resonate the most for me are about finding your own confidence. Is that you may have things that you do that are incredible, but that's not necessarily all there is to finding your way in the galaxy. In that you're going to have stumbles and you're going to have things that you still have to learn, and that you have your friends and family available to kind of work your way through as you come online with these superpowers that you realize that you have. So I think that's it, is kind of is learning to find your confidence in the face of challenge and adversity in a situation where you can rely upon the people that you're with to help you through that.
Thank you, Brad and Sarah.
Hi there. I'm Sarah from Friends of the Force podcast. It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thanks so much for being here today and chatting with all of us. In voice acting, you are using every corner of your vocal range, and voicing Nubs, I imagine, is a bit different than voicing members of the Bad Batch like Crosshair. Is there anything essential to your warm-up routine as you ensure that you're getting all of these voices, whether it be Nubs or members of the Bad Batch?
The most important thing for me about coming into a session is being ready, because a lot of what you end up coming up with is improvisational and in the moment. And what they clarify to me in terms of what's happening in a scene, or how it's blocked out, or the tone of what the other actor has been saying, which I can't hear when I'm reading a script, right? Because we're all recorded separately now. So I come into it sort of with a blank slate of readiness. My preparation is more about getting a good night's sleep, having a decent breakfast, and being maybe a little meditation to be clear and energized and ready to quickly and efficiently come up with something that works beautifully. So that's my job, is actually to essentially approach the stage with a clear and energized mind and full access to my imagination, as well as to my vocal orchestra that I bring along with me, and then have that ready to quickly come up with what the producers and the writers need in the story that we're telling. That's how I look at it. I'm not doing la 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 la. I used to do more of that, but a lot of that now is not it's not about preparing. It's about not doing things that damage my voice, so that I'm accessible. My humanity, if you will, is accessible. My voice is clear and not ground down or wiped out by what I just did yesterday or what I did in my session before. So I'm constantly protecting my voice even as I'm using it. So I want to deliver the vocal goods, but I want to do it in a way that doesn't work against my voice and ruin my instrument, so that I can't deliver what is needed. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Thank you. Back to Art.
Yeah, so like Victor from Fandad said, you team up with some cool characters, and we see a lot of cool characters as well. If Nubs had a time machine and time and space wasn't an issue, what other Star Wars character in the Star Wars universe, galaxy, whatever the case may be, would be a good fit or a good team up with Nubs?
I would get Nubs to Hoth, to the planet Hoth, so that he could meet the Tauntauns and ride around on Tauntauns.
Yes.
I think that would be an interesting, that would be fun. And then, and I'd love to do some Tauntaun sounds, although they may not need me to, because they've kind of got the Tauntaun sounds, that kind of stuff. But I think that would be interesting to see, like, an entire episode that has no dialogue, but that just has Nubs trying to figure out Tauntauns and how to ride them and how to interact with a Tauntaun. I think that would be delightful.
Just like your voice acting in Star Wars and all that good stuff, this answer didn't disappoint as well. Thank you.
Good.
All right, I think we've got time for one more question. Back to Dan.
Excellent. So how much would you say, I mean, Nubs is obviously adorable. People are going to get their picture with him at D23 this weekend. But how much would you say the look of Nubs affects how you perform him, especially when you first saw him?
Well, it's he's a fuzzy little bright-eyed bundle of optimism and energy that you definitely get. But as important is what's happening in the script and what's playing out. So really, as an actor, I have to draw upon the entirety of all of that. Now, with good storytelling and good animation, which is what you have here, you can kind of turn off the sound and you can still tell the story. It's still very clear. So it's very much a visual story that's playing out. But hopefully that the words and then in my case the utterances add a deeper human dimension and specificity to what's playing out, so that you have a full relatable story that plays out rather quickly in this show. That's I just think it's such a gem. It's such a gem.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. That concludes our roundtable. Have a great day.
May the force be with you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.